Hi everyone, it's Cole Braithwaite, your commercial real estate investment sales expert, coming to you again with another video we've put together here detailing the statistics of Q1 2021 on the commercial real estate market and the GTA sales through the asset classes of retail, industrial, and office. Myself and team, we specialize working with retail investors that invest throughout the GTA in these asset classes and work with them to help them maximize their investments. So I wanted to share with you in this video the numbers and statistics, what we're seeing in each asset classes and how things have been shaping out for Q1. Currently, at the time of this recording, we have moved into another lockdown, and I'm hearing it's been extended. So it will be interesting how this year is going to play out. What I share with investors a lot of the time is that depending on the asset classes and what they're focused on and what they're looking at, some are going to perform better than others. And we're going to see through the statistics here, how things have been shaping out for the first 3 months. So if we start with retail here in the GTA, we've covered all the major regions. We saw the total sales volume dip 10% from Q1 of last year. There was a total sales volume of 119 transactions. That's down from 132 we saw in 2021. Now, you've got to remember Q1 2020, we were not in the lockdown. The pandemic had not started as yet. I believe we had our first lockdown in March, and then through on we saw the changes in the activity. So in comparison, we're actually still down numbers in terms of a strong start of 2021. How that equates into sales volume is that we are actually up 35% in sales volume, which is interesting to note. There's about $672 million worth of transactions, of retail transactions that have occurred in the first quarter. And that's actually up from the roughly 500,000 or $500 million dollars worth of transactions that occurred last year. You got to keep in mind, this is a small sample size. There's a lot of certain regions that had some large transactions that really pushed the volume up. Overall, what I can say in terms of pricing in the GTA for retail is that pricing has stayed about the same. We haven't seen any drops in the cap rate or increases in the cap rate or price or drops in the price per square foot. Obviously, depending on the type of asset, where it's located, and the quality, we're seeing things tend to stay about the same. Interest rates are still cheap, and there's a lack of inventory available on the market. So there's still demand from investors to put money and capital to work. They're just a little bit more picky about what they choose and what segments that they approach. Definitely, service retail has been working great, or plazas or buildings that have a series of essential tenants that have been minimally affected by the pandemic or still been able to open, have still been able to perform. But overall, I would say on the sales volume and price wise, we're probably roughly about the same, but the number of sales, transactions, and activities has definitely dropped just due to the lack of opportunities. If we go on to industrial, now industrial has been the top performer really last year. And it still continues to be a strong performer this year. We saw about 28% increase in the number of sales and transactions occur in the first quarter. There was 150 deals completed. Last year, there's 117. So we're seeing a strong pent-up demand for investment. Really, the demand here is if there's more supply availability of product, we're going to see more transactions occur. I can see businesses expanding in the industrial and warehousing sectors due to what I call the Amazon effect of everyone looking for that last mile delivery and looking to increase their capacity to deliver and to service anything along that the product line or the supply chain line in order to service these needs, and that's really having a ripple effect. We saw a total sales volume of a $1.4 billion worth of sales in Q1, which was a record number. It's actually more than doubled the amount, or 83% increase from last year at $771 million worth of transactions. So that has really buoyed the market. We also see, if we break down in each region, several regions have seen positive increases at least of about 50%. We're seeing strong sales increases and large sales transactions that have been occurring. So all these things have been encouraging strong activity, which has really encouraged and pushed pricing going up. If we look at the office sector, this is one of the ones that have been hurt probably the most. We saw a 4% decline in the number of sales transactions. That's 45 deals that were completed in 2021. Only 2 deals, which was down from the 47 that was done in 2020. But if you break it out, if you sparse it out into different regions, you can see that on average, they tend to be up slightly or about the same. Halton region had a real steep decrease of about 58%, which has really pulled down the average. But what you can say on average is that sales transactions are roughly down, or at best roughly the same from what they were in 2020. The sales volume numbers, we've seen them decrease 18%. $343 million worth of transactions, of office transactions, were completed this quarter, or quarter 2021, and that's down from the 420 million we saw in 2018. Now, again, there were some larger transactions that were completed Q1 2020, which helped buoy up a lot of the average sale price. But you can get an idea of the investor sentiment and the activity. With this, what we're finding is, obviously with the stay at home and the lockdown, it's really put pressure on the office segment. Many office tenants are looking at either renewing and keeping their existing space while they figure out what to do. We find less expansion or less new leases being completed as a result, and that has carried over into investor sentiment and demand to purchase it because of the uncertainty going forward. Now, obviously, the location and the class of the office building is going to matter in terms of what investors are going to look for. Class A in certain locations have been performing better than in others. So I think overall we're going to see still demand for office buildings and office space going forward. Just depends on the location and where it is located. I think everybody is getting the sentiment and the feeling that working from home long term may not have all its social aspects and benefits as to what it seems, but obviously depending on the type of business, that may be more impactful than in others. But this gives you an idea of just some of the activity, what we've seen in 2021. The first 3 months. Anticipate this year to play out quite interestingly. Just really depends on each asset class and where it's positioned in the market and location, and how they're going to perform against each other. But this gives you an idea as to where you can see activities going and help you make decisions when forecasting going forward. If you have any questions or anything specific about your asset and where it sits in the market today, please reach out to me. I can share with you any information you need, and this is what we work with and specialize to help investors make the best decisions. But until next time, if you have any questions, take care.